Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Not long till Stadia now. Not long at all. What have we got up here? You piece of shit. Welcome to 2-Bit Gaming, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Josh. I'm here today with a bit more Stadia news. I'm not going to rant, but and I know it's probably a week or so old now, but the main thing that's kind of caught my eye is just about the pre-orders of Google Stadia. So the main point is that Google cannot guarantee that all the people who have pre-ordered Stadia, whether it's the Founders Edition or the Premier Edition or whoever, they can't guarantee that they're going to get it on the 19th of November, which again, I think, I'm not going to rant, but I think it's a little bit crazy. A company of Google's size can surely logistically deliver their product, which they're launching on the 19th, to everyone who's pre-ordered so that they all get it on launch day. I don't understand it. You know, people who pre-order PlayStations, Nintendos, Xboxes and so on don't normally have this problem. Sometimes you have to queue outside, sometimes they're out of stock, but if you've pre-ordered it and you've got an email saying, you know, they've got allocation, then you get it on launch day. So a few people who have obviously pre-ordered Stadia won't get it on launch day on the 19th of November, basically because they're shipping Stadia out based on when the orders came in. By the way, if you can hear fireworks, it's firework night, so that's causing a little bit of havoc and background noise, it seems. Personally, I ordered my Founders Edition, I think fairly early, so I'm pretty confident I'm going to get mine on the 19th. But the people who have ordered the Founders Edition a bit later on, a few months down the line, and then the Premier Edition when the Founders Edition was out of stock, you know, they're not likely to get it on the 19th. And yeah, I know it's, you know, they'll get it eventually. It's not always about, you know, having it on launch day and being able to play it immediately, but if you pre-ordered something, that's kind of what you want to do, really. You want to play it straight away. That's the whole point of pre-ordering. But you know, then again, the people who say just don't pre-order because things like this happen. So I go back to the point of, I'm very surprised from a major company like Google that they can't sort this out and they can't get everyone's pre-orders out to them on release day. So this article, as you can see, they expect to deliver all the pre-orders within 2 weeks of launch. I mean, 2 weeks. 2 weeks of... I mean, this is ridiculous. So people who've pre-ordered Stadia won't necessarily receive it by launch day. The company said on Tuesday, well, this was a week or so ago anyway, it's now sold out of the Founders Edition worldwide, been replaced with a Premier Edition, which basically the only difference is you get a white controller instead of the midnight blue or whatever it is. But they're just saying Stadia's Founders Edition and Stadia's Premier Edition will begin shipping in the same order that the pre-orders were received. The Google Vice President of and Stadia Head of Product, John Justice, said, "You will be able to buy and play your favorite games beginning at 9 a.m. On the November 19th. Well, not really, because everyone who's pre-ordered it and doesn't get on the 19th won't be able to play the games. Whatever. Yeah, that's basically the crux of the matter. I just don't know. They're not covering themselves in glory, to be completely honest. But I really am for this, like, the future of gaming, and it's gonna be streaming. It will be streaming in a few years' time, I believe. That it'll become more mainstream. Yes, I still love the old school, and Will is all about the old school as well. I'm still about that as well, but I am looking to embrace this, and that's the whole reason why I pre-ordered it. I'm excited for this stage of gaming, and yes, for the next few years, it's probably going to be a bit, you know, hit and miss, but you know, once it's fully established, I think it's going to be great. And to be part of the beginning bit, I think that's good. Okay, yes, I know there are other streaming platforms out there who are already doing it, but I don't know. It's hard to embrace it when stuff like this happens. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so another bit of news for Stadia. They are obviously wanting to create and bring first-party titles to Stadia. So they have opened up their first Stadia game studio in Montreal. They'll obviously be making exclusive content for Stadia, which makes sense. You know, PlayStation have their own studios, Microsoft do. So it was announced by industry veteran, apparently, Jade Raymond. Google's very first original game studio will produce exclusive original content across a diverse portfolio, she said. So it kind of confirms that Google are in this for the long run. They're investing so much money into this, and to open a whole studio, I can't see why they would invest so much to then pull the plug a few years down the line. So I think this is good news. Unfortunately, they weren't able to give a timeline for first-party title availability, so 2-3 years, I would say, to maybe bring out a really kind of groundbreaking game for Stadia. They can't just slap something together within a year and put it out. I think they've got to take their time on this. Yes, then they will have to rely on third-party titles for their platform, but there's plenty of those, and I'm sure there's some big names coming, like Rockstar and so on. So I don't think they have an issue there. They'll just have to rely on those while they get their first party content up and running. So I think 2 to 3 years is going to be about right. So another point that's come up recently with Google Stadia is the latency. You know, that's the main hurdle really. With any streaming platform, latency is the key. So what they've been saying is there's 3 parts of latency. All games require time to process a user's action, while on the client side, Google worked on ensuring fast and direct experiences for Chromecast and Android phones, for instance, along with the Stadia controller, because the Stadia controller connects directly to the server instead of like through Bluetooth to your Chromecast or your PC or whatever, to minimize the latency with regards to input. Apparently Pixel phones are optimized for low level latency. Well, obviously would be because they're made by Google. What they're saying it can't really be combated is the network, because they're limited by download speeds. Google's solution apparently ties into knowing what's happening in the game, which sounds quite complicated to be honest. But so what they're saying is, so the way they accommodate that is by giving the game enough insight about what's happening and enough timing about when the user saw an action and when they took an action. Also, Google give the ability to run at a faster refresh rate, apparently. So rather than running at 60 frames per second, they will run at 120 frames per second, which means the end user is running the game faster because they have because Google have more processing power, which means the user can process the information faster, which allows Stadia to regain some of that latency. It all sounds a little bit complicated. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background, so it'll be interesting to see how that actually works in the real world. Again, I haven't tried any other streaming platform, and I don't know what the latency is with those and how good or bad it is. If anyone knows, put it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you on that. But apparently also Google already have a roadmap for the future cloud hardware, and they're saying one day we'll be offering 120 frames per second at 8K resolution, which is just insane. So what they're saying is, from a technology perspective, they already have at least a 5-year roadmap on the technology. So they mentioned, when we look at Stadia, this is a long-term investment for us. It's not something that we are looking at the next 2 to 3 years. This is a 10-year or more project, and we're definitely looking forward for the long term. This is kind of good news really, that they're hopefully not just going to pull the plug. Okay, these are just words at the moment, you know, and Google has, I guess with any company, you know, if they start offering a new product or service and it's not going well, then they have the right to kind of pull the plug in a way. You know, it's their service. How that goes down with the user base, that's another story. I'm trying to remain positive on it, and I think, you know, I tend to believe them on this, but you know, who knows. So another little bit of news with regards to Stadia, and also touching on Blade, which is also another streaming service, slightly different to Stadia. But what the CEO of Blade has kind of mentioned is that game publishers might not necessarily wish to collaborate that much with Google Stadia. So what the CEO of Blade was saying, who is, I'm going to butcher his name unfortunately, but Jerome Arnaud, whether that's correct or not, who knows. He sees Stadia's own in-house studio, tying into the early news I mentioned, as a potential tripping point in Google's plan for world streaming domination, and believes publishers will prioritize traditional storefronts instead. We could probably places like Steam and now probably now the Epic Store, right? So obviously, as previously mentioned, they're opening their own game studio. You know what Blade's Jerome is kind of mentioning is that it could put major game developers and publishers at odds with Stadia, or at least less willing to actively market the platform to its players, especially if Stadia, effectively a rival publisher, were to step on any toes with a game release. So it's going to be kind of a fine line for Stadia to tread with regards to its first party titles. Although saying that, this article has mentioned about Ubisoft has embraced Stadia with open arms. The publisher has been working alongside Google to optimize its various titles from Assassin's Creed Odyssey to Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Other major publishers have also happily loaded their games on the platform, including Rockstar, which I mentioned earlier, which big one, CD Projekt Red, which is another major one, Witcher series, and obviously upcoming Cyberpunk 2077. I think it's 2077, right? Anyway, and Bethesda. Well, you know, obviously we know issues with Bethesda at the moment, but they do have good games as well, minus Fallout 76. I kind of get what Jerome from Blade is saying. Few publishers and developers, they might not be willing to collaborate with Google Stadia because there's maybe a bit of conflict of interest and they are competitors. But to be honest, maybe money talks at the end of the day. Google has kind of unlimited resources in that respect, and they've already got some major players on board. So I just think more developers will jump on board. Those publishers will want to put their games on multiple streaming platforms, as well as obviously your traditional consoles and PCs. So they want their games to be in as many places as possible because they're going to get more sales. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. It's also going to be interesting to see how Google reacts to the other streaming platforms coming on board. You know, obviously you've got your PlayStation now, which has been running for a few years now, and they've got 1 million subscribers, I think I read earlier today. You've got Microsoft xCloud, which has just been released and in beta at the moment. You've got Nvidia's Game Stream, also GeForce Now. There's that's been running for a while. There's loads of other little ones. I've found a list here. One called Rainway, HP Omen Game Stream. You've got Jump, Vortex. I haven't heard of half of these to be fair. Parsec. You know, there's apparently loads. Google Stadia, it certainly isn't the first. So there's been another one that's been released recently, and I gotta remember. Yeah, just reminding myself because I saw it earlier. EA are now looking to start their own streaming platform called Project Atlas. Yes, I've just confirmed that it is Project Atlas. So there's a lot of big companies and smaller companies, to be fair, which are offering streaming platforms for games. So, and over the next few years, I think it's going to exponentially grow to at quite a rate, really. But you know, we'll see what the future holds. So this video was just a little update on a bit of Stadia news, along with a sprinkle of other few bits and pieces going on. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments section below if you know anything more or if I've missed anything. I've probably missed a lot, but it's just a few articles I've seen over the last week or so. So I wanted to try to condense it into a video and let you guys know. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, ladies and gents, we will see you later. Thank you very much for watching the video. We really do hope you enjoyed yourselves. If you have done, then please consider subscribing to the channel and be sure to click that like button.
Please do leave us some comments. We love hearing back from you. So good or bad, let us know.
And as always, guys and girls, we will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.